entitled The Oversoul by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'll do the first, you do the thing in italics. Everyone there? Okay. Let us learn the revelation of all nature and thought, that the highest dwells within us, that the sources of nature are in our own minds.
And there's no screen or fuse between our heads and heaven, so there is no bar or wall in the soul where we, if that cease, and God the thought begins.
I am constrained every moment to acknowledge a higher origin for events than the will I call mine.
There is a deep power in which we exist, and whose beatitude is accessible to us.
Every moment when the individual feels invaded by it is memorable.
It comes to the lowly and simple. It comes to whosoever will look up what is torn and proud. It comes as insight. It comes as serenity and grandeur.
The soul's health consists in the fullness of its reception.
Forever and ever, the influx of this better and more universal self is new and unsearchable.
Within us is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one.
When it breaks through our intellect, it is genius. When it reaches through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affections, it is love.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to invite Reverend Donna Smith to our pulpit to share her message titled, The Relationship of Love and Karma. Reverend Donna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now I'm as tall as all of you are. How are you this morning?
Good.
It's really good to see you. I don't want to break it. No, I don't want to do that. But isn't it amazing how resilient and how well we can ad-lib when we need to? Thank you, Catherine. Yes. Well, I had a wonderful drive this morning, and as I was driving by the elk reserve there, I looked over, oh, they're there. And I looked over, oh, shrubs. I did that about 3 or 4 times, but finally I did see a small group in the back, by the tree line. So maybe on the way home. Tina Turner had a song, What's Love Got to Do with It? Remember that? Yeah. Well, today I'm going to talk about the relationship of love and karma. Now, karma is a Sanskrit term that means action. And it is said to have originated some 3,500 years ago. Now, karma is found within many forms of the Indian religion, including Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism. It is linked to systems of cause and effect, as well as being a key factor in rebirth. Now, I believe that means that we still, as long as we have karmic debt, we need to come back. That's my interpretation of that. So it emphasizes that individual actions, whether they are good or bad, determine the future consequences of the individual. So what you give in life, you will get in return. Now the belief is that karma can show up different ways for different people and in different lifetimes. So a person can't predict how and when it will come back to affect you. Wow, isn't that scary?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty scary when I started thinking about it. Especially when, if you understand the concept that 95% of our consciousness is subconscious, which means we don't know what's there. So how much of that karma is in our subconscious ready to come up again, you know? And it does come up, and we do experience that many times, but we don't look at it as karma. But maybe if we start looking at it as karma, it might mean more to us, or at least mean something different to us. And it is believed, you know, that we have hundreds, maybe even more lifetimes. That's scary too. I was having a reading one day, and I asked, okay, tell me how many lifetimes I've had. And the answer was 3 million. Yeah, I was speechless at first, and then I said, wow, I don't learn very fast, do I? 3 million. But you know what, I think I'm also going to get a second opinion on that one. That's a lot. So, you know, we wonder, how do we get out of this cycle, you know, of death and rebirth, and get rid of all of that stuff that we call karma? Where's that gate in that cycle so that we can get out? Does karma really exist? Well, if you believe in the concept of cause and effect, which is a universal law, then you might say yes. You know, we are given free will, and we can make any choice that we wish. But we are not free of the consequences of those choices. Hence, I think that's where our karma comes in. So there are 3 types of karma. You know, the karma that you have accumulated in this lifetime. The second is the karma that you have accumulated over those 3 million lifetimes. You know, we don't
That's
even,
a lot of karma.
That's a lot of karma, yes. And then also the karma from your current decisions that you make, and the actions that you've taken currently. Now, we most often talk about good and bad karma. And I remember a few years back, you know, it was like a trendy word, wasn't it? Karma. You know, oh, he's really creating bad karma. You know, we just talked like that. Wasn't even sure what I was saying, but everybody did it. But what I found in my research today, or on this subject, was there are 12 laws of karma, which are tools for interpreting how energy works in our universe, and these laws help us to understand how our actions affect not only us, but also the whole world. And the first one is the great law, they call it, the law of cause and effect. So whatever thoughts or energy we put out, we get back, whether they're good or they're bad. It is the biblical, you reap what you sow. The universe will give you whatever you are asking for in your thoughts, your words, and your actions. That's called free will. And another concept that I invite you to really remember is when you give out that energy, it goes out into the universe and it collects more and more of the same energy, and it will always come back to you with that greater effect. So for me, I'm very careful what I put out there, because I don't want to come back and hit me in the face, you know, 3 or 4-fold. So that's something that we really need to remember, and especially when we are communicating with others. The second one is the law of creation. Creation will never cease. We will never cease. We are creation. We, of course, will go into many different forms, but we will never cease to be. We're divine beings, whether you like it or not. And you will never cease to be. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm so tired of this, you will never cease to be. The third one is the law of humility. So in order to change something in your life, you first have to accept what currently exists. Here is the problem, a big problem for humanity. It's so hard to accept things that we don't like. However, if we do not accept these things, we cannot transcend them. So if you're fighting something, how are you going to transcend it into a higher vibration so that you can be beyond it? So this is how we create our future. Okay, we accept our present. And once you accept it, then you have the power to change it. If you're not accepting it, how are you going to change it? So it makes a lot of sense. The fourth is the law of growth. The universe is always expanding. part of the universe, and we are always expanding. When we grow and change and evolve internally, that's when we affect our external circumstances. As within, so without. The law of responsibility. Now, this is about taking ownership for your life. What happens in your life, including the not so good stuff. Okay. Now, this means letting go of projecting that responsibility, the blame, the shame, the guilt, or whatever, onto others. Whatever happens in your life is not due to actions of others. So we need to take responsibility for our lives. And that's a toughie too, because we've been taught, that it's easier to blame somebody else, because then we don't feel the pain, for a little while anyway. But it never really goes away, because deep down we know. And so what's really important here is once you take responsibility for your life, you've also taken back your power to change whatever you want to change, create whatever you want to create. Because until you do that, you're giving all that power to everybody else you've projected it onto. So that's a very good reason to be responsible for your life. The sixth one was the law of connection. Every person and everything is connected. And I think all of us here, we know this. Everything that we have experienced has led to the next thing, into the next thing, into the next thing. And it's all linked up. It's all linked up. People come into our lives for a reason and a season. This isn't just some haphazard acquaintance or anything. Everybody's in our lives for a reason. The season is, it might be for a few moments. It might be just passing a stranger on the street, connecting with your eyes, and something happens there. Or it could be someone that you live with for years and years and years. But they're all there for a reason, and this is by your soul's plan. So I always look at this as, wow, here is this person in my life. It could be someone that's been there for a long time, or someone new. And I say, okay, my soul wanted me to meet this person. And it really puts, for me, just this wonderful, joyous energy behind it, because I'm thinking, why are you here for me? And why am I here for you? Because this is, we do this together as a soul group. So when you remember that what you do to others, you are also doing to yourself, okay? And what you do to yourself, you're doing to others. It really does affect how you interchange and interface with other people. And the seventh one is the law of force. It says you cannot put your energy toward two things simultaneously. Bad news for multitaskers, huh? Yeah, I used to be a multitasker, and I stopped eventually because I realized how stressful it was. But when you put your attention on one thing, then you will do it much better, and probably in a lot less time. So that is the law of force. The law of giving and hospitality, and this of course is about selflessness. Being giving to others and practicing what you preach. And this seems to be hard for humanity also. We have these ideals, and we say, yes, I believe in this, but to actually do it, sometimes a little difficult. So when we pay attention to those kinds of ideals that we create for ourselves, then maybe it'll be easier for us to live up to them. Again, in anything I ever say, never judge yourself on anything, ever, okay? It's just that when you look at these things and you realize, well, I could do this maybe in a different way to maybe live up to this ideal, then just do it. Just do it. You don't have to repent or anything like that. As an aside, you know what repent means in the Aramaic language, which is the language of Jesus? All it means is stop. Just stop doing it. It doesn't mean beat yourself up and do all of that. It just means stop. So I like that. But But that, those kind of things, when our awareness helps us then to be more conscious of what we're actually doing, and are we living up to what we say is our ideals. The law of here and now, and this is about being present. So many people are still living in the past because it's very hard to forgive, all right? And this is part of our lesson and everything, but when you're living in the past and you're thinking about it today, you're bringing all that into the current, okay? And I kind of call that the karma, because you're reliving it, you're not letting it go. And you need to let it go to move forward. Okay, you need to be in the present moment, even to connect to the person in front of you. And we have a teaching in nonviolent communication that if you are not present, how in the world are you going to communicate with anybody and really realize what their feelings are and what their needs are and what they're trying to say to you. So it's very important to be present. And when you are, it's so life enriching. In fact, it's sweet to really be with someone in front of you. The 10th one, the law of change. So if you find yourself experiencing the same situation over and over again, that is the law of change in action. It is the universe nudging you to wake up and maybe make a different choice and move on. Take care of it. Maybe you keep attracting the same undesirable partners in your life, or you never have enough money to, do what you want to do. Well, doing the same thing over and over and expecting change, as you know, is the definition of insanity. And how many times do we do that before we wake up? But the great thing about this law is that once you have learned your lesson, you don't have to do it again. Isn't that great? It's like, it's a done deal, it's over. And another thing that happens is we tend to stay in our heads too much. We really, really need to, that heart-brain coherence that I share with you all the time, we need to bring those two together so we can really be in our wisdom. And we've been out of our heart for too long. The 11th, the law of patience and reward. I want patience and I want it now. That kind of thing. And this translates to hard work pays off. And here's where I differ. And this may be just a matter of definition, but I offer this for you to consider. Okay? The universe does not effort. Okay? The universe is a flow. And I believe that when you bring your desire to yourself with trust and with that intention, it will flow to you. It will flow to you, because any kind of efforting is disharmony. The universe is always in harmony. It's just human beings that are out of harmony. So if we can really get really close to, develop a close relationship to the universe, trust it, and allow things to happen, keeping your dreams, and your passions, your aspirations right there, they will come to you, everything you want. And you do not have to work so hard. So that's my interpretation of that law. And please forgive me, whoever I might have offended. I'm not sure. And the 12th one is the law of significance and inspiration. We all have value to give. We are all valuable. We cannot be anything less than that. And our unique gifts are meant to be shared with each other and the world to make a positive impact. So if we don't share our gifts, the world does without them, because no one can share you. You are the gift. And so it's very important that we contribute to ourselves first and to the world. And every contribution is important. From a Gandhi saving a nation to helping a stranger by giving your hand. Course in Miracles says there are no order to miracles. Because every expression of love is a miracle. And that's what's important. So wow, these laws of karma can be daunting, can't they? I have to remember all of that. And how can I live up to all those expectations? And is it going to really help me let go of my karma? And how can I get rid of that karma that has accumulated over lifetimes that I don't even know what it is? So how can I get off that karmic cycle? Well, there is good news. Okay? What's love got to do with it? All right, karma is not non-existent in unconditional love. Okay. This means that karma is created because of fearful emotions and fearful thoughts. And it occurs on two levels. First is immediate, okay? For every moment you think an unloving thought as a physically embodied being, you immediately alter the electrical flow of energy through your physical body. The chemical balance is upset. You will experience tightness in the body, perhaps sadness, depression, dis-ease, and if it continues, probably disease. The second is mediated form of karmic response, which is the world around you will, over a period of time, create itself in a context that mirrors to you the negative thoughts that you hold onto and probably created 10, 20, or 50 years ago that you've forgotten you created. And you will not associate these effects with those negative thoughts so long ago. That makes it kind of hard, doesn't it? But this is what happens when we take all these things in our lives and we form these beliefs and we hang on to them as if they're, they're gospel or something. They might have been benefiting you at the time, but we tend to hang on to them instead of investigate them. The Way of Mastery reads, in unconditional loving, karma does not exist. In its mature state, in its spiritual state, unconditional loving means that the mind has awakened and seen that nothing that occurs in life can cause it to contain or withdraw its love. In the perfection of unconditional love, the mind simply loves. So through unconditional love, there is a transcendence of karma, which means you don't have to go back there and repay all of that stuff, okay? And it all starts with a decision to love yourself. One of the hardest things we do. People find it harder, I think, to think they love someone else and they don't love themselves because they're not perfect as the world defines them. However, unconditional love always starts with that decision to love yourself. Why? Because you might as well. Not loving yourself hasn't worked out so well, has it? No. So when you love yourself, you are actually honoring the Creator who created you and loves you so much, who is love. So, when you decide to love yourself, what happens is you cannot help but love others because you're just love. And karma can be transcended when you are in love. Now, karma is most interesting concept, and it shows up in many, many ways, as we probably know. So I want you to ask yourself two questions. Where are the effects I experience in my life that are the result of karmically induced thought as opposed to thoughts of unconditional self-acceptance? It's a good one for meditation, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Second, what must I have believed is true about the world to be living the life I am living now? Really good one. What must I have believed is true about the world to be living the life I am living now? The Way of Mastery continues, karma can be transcended by translating it into something else. Karma can become the fulfillment of your purpose, your very way to extend and teach only love. For when you see that the effects, called your life, are the result of limited, fearful, negative thoughts or beliefs you have held about yourself and about the world, you can embrace the effects you have created and see them in a new light. This means bless all of your life because it has been and is your creation. Bless it, appreciate it, and wrap your arms around it. Now that's a new concept, isn't it? But think about that. When you do this, the universe is required to rearrange itself to accommodate your new vibration. That's the way it works, okay? Appreciation, love, and unlimitedness require the universe to show up in a different way. And this is why I teach raising consciousness. When you raise your consciousness, your vibration, the universe flows in with that same vibration. So if your vibration is negative, of shame and guilt, I don't love myself, I'm not good enough, what happens is the universe, by law, has to give that to you because of free will. So think about that. You raise your vibration. I love myself. I love all of my friends and my family. I love this. I love my life. Now there may be things you want to change in your life. That's not the point. You love your life because you have been a creator of it all. And with that awareness and that power and that new vibration, whoa, you know, what did they say? The sky's the limit. But as long as you're holding that lower vibration, that's what you're getting. So that's why it's very important. So the Way of Mastery reads, in other words, karma is not a prison. Bringing your attention to the effects you create is a pathway to great freedom. What you did in the past to create the effects that you no longer want was not a sin or a mistake. It was merely a free choice in order to create experience. Fine. You have been there, you have done that. He actually said that. Now, bring love and appreciation to the very effect that you may be judging. All events are neutral. Okay? They only have value when we give them value. All right? And there's no good, bad, right, or wrong here. That's what happens. Therefore, what this is asking us to do is to celebrate your life, celebrate your successes. Any successful person knows they never fail. They learn and they become wiser. Okay? There is no such thing as failure, by the way. Everything we do has a lesson in it and an opportunity. There is only ongoing success as life evolves from good to better to best. So the Way of Mastery has these wonderful words that I want to close with. It says, become one who is no longer at the effect of karma. Become one who uses karma wisely by looking honestly at their life, learning what needs to be learned without judgment, but rather in celebration. Become one who translates their karma into the doorway to an ever-increasing awareness of God's presence and perfect love, spread across the face of the earth, permeating everything you see, translating the world into the very means that can uplift you, awaken you, care for you, and heal you. Freedom is love under all conditions. I love that quote. So when we choose to be love and give love, see love in all things, there is no karma to overcome. is not our prison. We can get out of this. And yes, you can be in this world, in a human body, and have no karma. Yay! You know, we can do this. You know, this is the month of love. So let's concentrate on giving all that stuff away. So that's what love has to do with it. All right, I would like to now ask you to join me in a few moments of meditation. So find your meditation seat. Allow your body to relax. Just tell your body it's safe. You are so safe here. And it's okay. So breathe. Just breathe into your heart. Breathe out from your heart. And as you're breathing in and out of your heart, bring your full attention to your heart. And now think of someone or something that brings you genuine feelings of love, joy, appreciation, gratitude, peace. Feel it in its fullness. You're now in heart-brain coherence. You are now in your wisdom center. And now I ask you to place in your wisdom center these words. Freedom is love under all conditions. What does that mean to you? Ask your heart to help you release any fears you have that affect your life. And be very willing to release them. Be willing to express love now. Be willing to be free. You are not your fearful thoughts, but you are your loving thoughts and your loving feelings. So breathe that into your heart deeper and deeper and deeper. And so let's bring our attention back into our space, our beautiful space here. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a deep breath. But today, in class, we're going to talk about the surprising purpose of anger. And we're also going to talk about how to show appreciation the nonviolent communication way. So it's going to be, and I have my tuning forks too, so I hope to see you in class. So thank you everyone so much for your attention.